Welcome back, everyone. Last week, we looked at two very different approaches to chronic illness, the medical model and the recovery model. We saw how the medical model excels in acute situations, but often struggles to reverse chronic lifestyle related conditions. Today, we're diving deeper into the recovery side, specifically the possibility of remission. Remission means that symptoms reduce or even disappear, lab markers improve, and quality of life returns, sometimes fully. It doesn't mean a permanent cure, and it doesn't mean there's zero risk of change in the future. But it does mean the illness no longer dominates daily life, and your body is functioning in a much healthier way. I know for some of us, even hearing the word remission can stir up skepticism. Maybe you've been told your condition is permanent. Maybe you've tried so many things already that hope feels risky. But here's the truth, the science says it's possible, and not just in rare, exceptional cases. We're seeing it happen over and over again. So today, let's talk about what's actually going on in the body when remission happens, the themes we see across many different recovery stories, and why understanding this possibility can change the way we approach healing in our own lives. In recent years, research has confirmed that a range of chronic illnesses, type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure, non alcoholic fatty liver disease, certain autoimmune conditions, and some digestive disorders can and do go into remission for some people. Sometimes this happens slowly over months or years. Sometimes the change is surprisingly quick. We can't always predict who will respond or exactly when improvements will appear. But the fact that it happens at all, repeatedly, across different populations and studies, tells us something profound. The body has the capacity to repair. The systems that regulate inflammation, immunity, metabolism, and hormonal balance are not frozen in a damaged state forever. Under the right conditions, they can shift back toward health. From a neuroscience perspective, even subtle biological changes in these systems send different feedback signals to the brain. This can alter mood, motivation, and decision making, meaning that as the body heals, the brain begins supporting healthier patterns almost automatically. That's one of the reasons early signs of remission often include clearer thinking, better emotional regulation, and less mental fatigue. From a biological standpoint, remission is not magic. It's the body doing what it's designed to do when the environment changes in its favor. One of the biggest shifts is reduced inflammation. Chronic inflammation works like a slow burning fire in the body, damaging tissues, interfering with hormones, and keeping the immune system in constant overdrive. In remission, markers like CRP, that's C reactive protein, IL-6, and TNF alpha often drop significantly. This reduction gives cells a chance to repair damage, reestablish healthy communication, and restore tissue function. We also see improved metabolic function. When insulin sensitivity improves, your cells respond more efficiently to insulin signal to take in glucose. This means blood sugar levels stabilize. The pancreas doesn't have to overproduce insulin, and the risk of further metabolic damage drops. This is critical because high insulin and blood sugar over time can fuel inflammation and damage blood vessels and nerves. Then there's better immune regulation. In autoimmune conditions, the immune system often misidentifies the body's own tissues as threats. In remission, we see T regulatory cells, the peacekeepers of the immune system, becoming more active, calming the immune response and reducing attacks on the body's own cells. Finally, enhanced cellular repair plays a huge role. The mitochondria, your cell's energy factories, begin producing ATP more efficiently, which means every cell has more energy for repair and normal function. The body also activates autophagy, the process of cleaning up damaged proteins and organelles, so that cells work better and last longer. From the brain's perspective, these changes mean fewer inflammatory signals crossing the blood-brain barrier. The hypothalamus, which regulates stress hormones and appetite, can reset to a calmer baseline. Neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to rewire itself, becomes more active when inflammation is low. This means healthier habits and thought patterns are easier to adopt and maintain. Every remission story is unique, but across the research and in our own community, there are patterns that show up again and again. One is reducing the chronic stress load. This doesn't mean removing every stressor from life. It means helping the body recover faster after stress, balancing the nervous system, and avoiding the constant fight or flight state that fuels inflammation and worsens symptoms. Another theme is connection, especially with people who believe recovery is possible. In our community, we see this daily. Just being around people who expect improvement changes how you see your own future. We also see meaningful daily changes, removing harmful inputs and adding supportive ones. Over time, these small repeated decisions create a completely different internal environment. And finally, there is a renewed sense of purpose. People anchor themselves in something bigger than the illness, a personal mission, a role they love, a life goal that matters deeply. That purpose keeps them moving forward, even when progress feels slow. From a neuroscience angle, social connection and purpose both boost dopamine and oxytocin, chemicals that help the brain feel safe, motivated, and resilient, all of which make physical healing more sustainable. Understanding that remission is possible changes everything. It shifts the conversation from managing decline to supporting improvement. It reminds us that biology is adaptable. The body is not locked in disease mode forever. And it encourages hope, not the false kind that ignores reality, but the grounded kind that fuels persistence. In our community, we hold that hope for each other. We believe in recovery because we've seen it. And that belief can be contagious in the best possible way. Before we close, I want to offer some reflections for the week. These are not assignments, they're gentle invitations to explore what comes up for you. First, where have I believed change wasn't possible for my condition? Sometimes our brains create protective beliefs to shield us from disappointment. Just noticing these beliefs without judgment can begin to loosen their hold. Second, how does knowing remission is possible shift my perspective? Neuroscience shows that belief shapes biology. When we anticipate improvement, our stress response can ease, inflammation can drop, and healing systems can become more active. Third, what examples of recovery in myself or others can I draw hope from? Hope isn't abstract. It grows from evidence. Think of real moments in your life or in others where progress was made. This gives your brain a library of proof to lean on. And finally, what's one supportive connection I want to strengthen this week? Relationships that convey safety and belief in you activate the social engagement system in the brain, which helps regulate both mood and immune function. Even one intentional interaction can shift your physiology toward healing. The science tells us something powerful. Chronic illness doesn't always have to be a lifelong sentence. Remission is not guaranteed, but it is possible. Knowing that possibility exists gives us a different kind of hope, one that fuels persistence, curiosity, and openness to the many ways the body can heal. In our community, we hold that hope for each other, even on the days when it's hard to hold it for ourselves. That's part of the reason we keep showing up, because sometimes the hope we carry for someone else ends up being the very thing that carries them through. Thank you for listening.